you for joining us. Momentum has teamed up with UNISA to launch a household financial wellness index. This is the first independent, credible and comprehensive research of its kind in South Africa, and the findings present an invaluable and unprecedented benchmark in understanding the state of the nation's financial wellness. Earlier on, I spoke to the head of client management at Momentum, Leanne du Toit. Leanne, tell us about the Household Financial Wellness Index. What benefit does it have to South Africa?
Well, this new index we're launching today for Momentum and UNISA is really putting South Africa in a space that they really can start to understand what is happening in their financial wellness. Previously, South Africans had some kind of an indication with an index, for instance, looking at your debts or looking at your savings. But there has never been a holistic index that has looked across the board around your liabilities, across your savings, across how your different debt levels are looking at your what you've got from an education perspective, what you have from a social support and standing perspective. All of those things actually link together. And it's the first time that we can really see how the different things in your life can be connected together and either make you financially well or financially unwell.
Leanne,
that's what this index is doing.
Leanne, is there any way members of the public can get hold of this to educate themselves on this? Because it's a very in-depth study, and I think most South Africans would find this very interesting.
Yes, definitely. We actually have the findings of the study available on our website, on Momentum's website, momentum.co.za. There's a very much detailed reports in there, and the report will give you a lot more information on that. But from a generic perspective, we're looking at 4 different levels of being well. There's an anchored and a drifting, well and unwell. And on the factors of the South African population, most of the South Africans that we've surveyed and we've extrapolated this from a statistical perspective, are in a drifting stage. And what a drifting actually means is we can either make you more well or unwell by doing the right thing. And that's maybe the positive sign that we can see, is that just by having a budget, just by looking at your finances a little bit, thinking here and there into the future, and comparing how much you're spending versus how much you're saving, and touching on that education element that is so key. It was one of our key findings. We can get you from the drifting state into an actual wellness state, that we can even anchor you into a wellness state as a consumer.
Leanne, on a final note, is it still of concern to you guys that South Africa is not a saving nation?
Most definitely. It's most definitely a concern, and what we've seen in all the statistics and the research findings that is available in more comprehensive state is that the actual level of liabilities is getting more and more, and the level of assets that the consumers have is getting less. So in other words, that gap is increasing over time. The good news is the speed of this gap is reducing. So since the recession, it was a bit chaotic, and the speed of that gap was getting more and more. But there is still an increasing need for South Africans to save, and that has got a massive impact on all consumers in the whole country.
Thank you for that rather interesting report there, Leanne du Toit, Head of Client Management at Momentum.